fruition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the.
Hello, everyone. This is Andreas, Pop Culture Guy, who was rudely interrupted while I was talking to Cyber that I care more about Captain America 4, Brave New World review over the Spider-Man review and FU Spider-Man review recap 7 and 8 that we're going to do. But don't worry, folks. I do care about talking about these episodes. It's just I don't care about certain things in this episode. But anyway, so we're back again, folks, for the Monday report on. Well, we had two great things, as you just know now. We have a new MCU film, so we're going to review that afterwards when we get done with the Spider-Man reviews. So hopefully we get cracking on those two episodes before that. But anyway, so I got my handsome Dashly TrueKnowledge himself, Jeff S. How you doing, sir?
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, episode 7 and 8.
That's good.
There you go. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, episode 7 and 8. Just to be clear.
Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, yeah. So that's what it is, folks.
Let's do it, sir.
Let's do it. So, and then we got Cyberneticshark here, the half man, half shark, half cybernetic, or hands person. I don't know what he is. So, hello, sir. How you doing?
I am fantastic. So,
Cyber, are you eating yogurt?
He's eating yogurt.
No, it was ice cream.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. I was like, wait, is he eating yogurt? Anyway, all right. Okay,
I wouldn't blame him if he was eating yogurt. I like yogurt.
Yeah, no. I mean, hey, yogurts are good. They're very good. So anyway, let's get into it. So how I'm gonna do is I want to ask you guys your opinion on the storyline of Lincoln, because this is a Spider-Man show and like we got some progress with the storyline. So last episode, episode 6, the Scorpion had one of his cronies following Lincoln, and she finds the warehouse they've been kind of like handing out. And then so after that, that's where we get the full-on Scorpion attacking the warehouse in episode 7, and that's basically the focus on episode 7. But I'll get back to the Spider-Man stuff because they're important, but I want to kind of get rid of the Lincoln stuff for 7 and 8. So 7 is like where Lincoln's like personal life is kind of getting a little crazy in this episode because we're now that girlfriend, what's her name, Pearl, like finds out that he's the gang, and so she sees it. She's like in danger while Scorpion destroys the warehouse. She's safe and all that. And then of course in episode 8, and I'm putting together 8 here for you guys so you can get rid of Lincoln's storyline here. In 8, we see Lincoln again. He's now like full on is supporting the tank, the tank gang after they get the location of Octavius like weapons here, and obviously Pearl and like Lincoln kind of break up during episode 8. So what do you guys think about the whole like Lincoln storyline right now with episode 7, 8? I'll start with you, Jeff. What you thought about this, and like so far as like
I don't know. I mean, it's like kind of depressing. I guess like obviously like from an entertainment value standpoint, it's not my favorite storyline. As a part of the show, him joining the gang and all that. I guess this is like him becoming Tombstone or whatever, I get that, I get that's like what's going on or whatever. But, I don't know, I don't really care that much that him and Pearl broke up. Like, I don't really care, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the chick that Peter likes anyway, you know what I mean? Then you know what I mean, then like that's good for Peter. You know what I mean? So that's positive. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about the Lonnie storyline. I mean, it's just there. It's part of the show. The whole gang affiliation deal and all that. Like he's stuck. He's sticking with his whole like I've got to do what I've got to do for my family or whatever deal. Like that's his shit or whatever. And that's it. Like he doesn't care about school or nothing now. He's like he dropped out of school. He's off the football team. Like he gave up everything for the gang. And he's like bought into the gang now and all that shit. Like he's like bought into it, So he's like into it and all that. You know what I mean? He's like, these are my homies now and all this shit or whatever. So I don't know what to say. Like, like I guess he's a gangbanger now.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely is. I'm very curious, like, if he's gonna get his like classic comic book look as Tombstone, but we'll see if they do that towards the end of the series. Cyber, what's your thoughts on the storyline with Lakin and like him now going through this? Like he's like committed to this like crime life and all that. Go ahead.
Stupidest shit ever. I cannot stand this whole fucking Lincoln Tombstone thing shit. For one, Tombstone was a character that looked like a fucking tombstone, okay? He did not start off like that. Okay? A kid. Okay? I'm sorry. That's just not how it worked. Anyways, it's the stupidest freaking thing, okay? It totally makes no added sense to this story, except for the fact that we get towards the end of the episode when somebody comes in and attacks the people from the 110s. Other than that, that whole storyline is the most stupidest freaking thing I've ever seen. Now, on the other hand, though, this episode, episode 7, I think starts out very strong. Great idea, well executed, I thought. And, other than the Lincoln shit, which I could totally do without, pretty solid.
Yes, I agree. It was, yeah, without the Lincoln shit, these episodes are really fantastic, I gotta say here. So let's get into the meat-gree of this. So obviously, episode 7, Scorpion Rising, that's the episode we have here. And then, of course, episode 8 is titled Tangled Web. Here, we got really good Spider-Man storyline. So obviously, episode 7 is picking up from episode 6 where, Pierre's friend, Nico finds out the secret. And she is, so like in the beginning here, we got the school stuff here where Nico is kind of like annoying Pierre's attempts to apologize for keeping the Spider-Man secret from her. And so she, it's a good, Spider-Man thing, like I can understand the friend. I mean, it's kind of like a big shock. So it's a good drama there. But then after that, Pierre gets kind of calling with Norman to like subdue where Octavius is at, and they do like a lot of like scientific talk here, and they have they run down like some of the minerals and like stuff like metals that we heard from like various Marvel Studio stuff. Like I think vibranium got mentioned here. They brought up, like lead and like stuff like that. And they come down to that Octavius is using gamma radiation for his technology to begin trace around the city to locate where he's doing. At the same time, we get like Harry also is now that Nico finds out, Harry is trying to talk to Nika about like the whole Pierre secret thing. So he kind of takes her out for food and trying to attempt to get her to forgive Pierre. But then at the same time, we get this kind of cool thing of the two beginning to bond as friends, and like he teases her to drive, and they kind of like engage a street race against a crazy driver we don't know. So that was all cool. Let me stop there. Let me start with you, Cyber. What you thought about the beginning, like with the teen drama, and then of course Pierre and the Green Goblin kind of doing that Octavius is using gamma radiation for his technology up to kind of like Harry is trying to convince Nika to forgive Peter. Go ahead.
So, like I said, the beginning of the episode is really solid. Really like it. I think it's very fun. Starts right off the bat with a little bit of kind of like great information, kind of get you into the episode. The whole thing where, basically, Harry decides to go and, talk with Nico, I think was interesting. The conversation that, that Peter and, kind of Norman have, I think is it kind of an interesting start to the episode as well. I like the whole drama stuff. I could totally do without. I think it's totally unnecessary for the episode, and is just like it just does not, I feel, add anything to the story or to the actual episode. So I think that we could do without that whole situation, where Lincoln's not, Pearl's not hearing from Lincoln and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, who cares, Pearl? Move on. Don't worry. You don't need him. Go after Petey, as you like to call him. And it's just like, okay. That was the least interesting point for me in the beginning sequence. But other than that, I enjoyed the beginning. I thought that like it kind of gave us some information about like the whole gamma radiation thing was really cool, that they figured out that it was gamma radiation. And I'm like, Doc Ock is using gamma radiation? That's kind of a call back to the Hulk, I feel. That's kind of like putting out the Hulk out there and stuff like that. And I was like, interesting. Like talking more about gamma radiation in this. So I was kind of like, I wonder if the gamma radiation is going to become like kind of a main primer at the end of this, series. And I was like, that's interesting, especially because later on in the episode we'll find out. But I just thought the whole gamma thing, them like searching for it and stuff like that, was kind of an interesting kind of like twist there. Them trying to figure it out and stuff like that. It was very kind of like totally felt like Peter Parker-y, and it felt like something that Pete would be good at. Because he is in the comics, he is a very intellectual, very smart guy, and he's very scientific, and that's why he's able to create the web shooters he creates and stuff like that. So that was like really, I thought, a really great callback to the comics there. So I think it's a really solid beginning that has some unnecessary teen drama, but other than that, I thought it was really solid.
Yep. Jack, your thoughts at the beginning up to the whole Nika talking to Harry and then getting Bond to as friends. Go ahead.
Well, to pair it off of Cyber, the teen drama could I could do without. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not not that entertaining for me. Like that angle of the show. Nico going on like this, her whole like vent about like being pissed off about Peter and all that. Like I don't even really understand all that. You know what I mean? But like it was interesting. Like the drag racing thing, I kept thinking they were going to crash. Like that's when I was waiting for them to happen. I thought they were going to crash. I thought Nico was going to crash Harry's car. And there was romantic tension between them at the end there. So I don't know, like that was cool. You know what I mean? Like, I guess there was a thing between, Harry and Nico now or whatever, because there was like definitely romantic tension between them, like at the end of their little like excursion or whatever, yeah, I don't know. Nico's growing on me, like, like she's an okay character, and she's kind of like the focus of the opening part of the episode, the stuff with the gamma radiation and Spider-Man flying around triangulating the areas, with Norman was all interesting, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So like then just kind of pick it up or left off there, it's all good here. We're getting a lot of really good Spider-Man stuff here. I appreciate we're still not forgetting that Spider-Man is a smart kid, as Cyber brought up before. I like that we're still using that. Spider-Man is an electrical person. Like he is the biggest brain in the Marvel universe behind, Fantastic Four, Mr. Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man and all that. So after that, we get Pearl here. Like we cut back and forth with the 100 Gan, whatever, line is involved. As I said, where Pearl learns about the whole, gang here and confronts Lonnie at the hideout, right? And Lonnie tries to push her away because then the gang is attacked by Gargan now, as the Scorpion. And by the way, this is where I really appreciate this episode. Like, I really love this version of Scorpion. He's so mean, so violent. I was surprised when we get into the this is pretty much the third act here, like how brutal he is as a villain. It's like very good, like television stuff. Like the way Peter gets hurt in this episode was like very like almost the level of what the live action films have done, particularly with Toby, the Toby films. So like Scorpion's here, he is destroying like the warehouse they were at. He killed one person of the gang, which was like, wow, big shock. I just like how the animation of the tail is. That's really cool. While they're tracking their radiation and in the Gargan's armor, that's where Peter finds this location with the tracking of the radiation. Peter comes here, tries to rescue the gang. He rescued Pearl and Lonnie here, who escaped with the other gang that didn't get caught in the act here. While this, Norman, while he's talking to Peter, he gets so distracted here in this end. This is you could totally like this episode and next episode. It's really great. We see like how Mr. Osborn, Norman is as a person. Like he has other agenda here as a person, and he gets so distracted finding Octavius while he provides like just the minimal assistance in the fight of Peter versus Gargan. And of course, at once Peter like thought he beat the Scorpion, but at the same time, Norman thinks it's all done. He kind of like takes out his like what do you call it, the earplug, like the communication next to Peter's suit, and he locates like he finally finds Octavius with the with the location radiation stuff. But while this happens, right, Peter gets this surprise that Gargan gets out of the whip, and you see like the gamma radiation like burning through his skin like because of the armor here. As famous in the comic books, if you don't know, Scorpion famously his suit doesn't take off because of the radiation and whatnot that is used to like enhance Scorpion's abilities to fight Spider-Man. You're seeing that right now. You're seeing like a little bit of that. That's probably the suit that Gargan has is gonna like infuse him, just like similar to Dr. Octopus and his tentacles in Spider-Man 2. So he gets out of the web. Gargan brutally beats Peter up, which was so crazy. Like, he tricks him by like throwing one of the like these big walls here and down, and then he like literally stabbed through Peter's like abdomen and like burst into the suit, which was so shocking. I can't believe they did that here in this episode. So I was surprised with that. Like severely injured Peter here. And when Norman saw it, the reason he gets noticed Peter is because he got the notification that the suit was Pierce here, and he sends in a glider, which is shocking. So we got our first look on a glider before, like we see our first glimpse of Norman using a glider, which is a good foreshadow of Green Goblin, right? So it rescued Peter before before he actually dies with his injuries. So that's the wrap up of episode 7. Let me start with you, Jeff. What you thought about the whole Scorpion attack of the warehouse? Did you like that we saw the glider? What are your thoughts about this, sir?
The Scorpion attack on the warehouse was really dope. It was for this kind of animation, it was animated pretty well. The tail looked good and all that, And that's kind of the most important part, kind of, that and how he looks with the tail when you see him, like when it's him, and he looked good. It was they went pretty deep with Spider-Man getting fucked up, like getting stabbed by the end of the scorpion's tail and all that, that was pretty sick. Kind of surprising that they went that far. Although the injury, the blow he got from that didn't look as bad and like it as they made it look. But it was interesting that Pearl went to the gang house, like she knew to go there and like found whatever his name is, London or whatever the fuck or whatever, Lincoln there or whatever, she got mixed up in the shit with the Scorpion, you know what I'm saying? Like Peter really got his ass beat for the first time. Like he really got fucked up, like Scorpion really put his hands on him. Like he really like beat the shit out of him, So like that was surprising that they showed that. But they did. And it was entertaining. And we saw the glider, and that was obviously the Green Goblin, got like glider, like that's what it was, you know what I'm saying? Like the platform or whatever, that was cool. That saved Spider-Man and everything. And that's it.
And tell me about your how you rate this episode 7.
I give it an 8.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with that. Cyber, tell me about your thoughts on this final act of episode 7 and give me your rating, sir.
So yeah, the ending of the episode is really fantastic with the Scorpion fight and him like taking out all the 110s and then Spider-Man coming to the rescue was really awesome. Watching, Spider-Man swing around and trying to look for the gamma radiation to find Doc Ock was really cool. And that's this Scorpion was just really different for me because it was just a partial suit versus how we're used to him in the comic books. It's just on his chest, and I was like, kind of like, that's kind of fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I'm like, that just looks retarded. I'm like, please, why wasn't it a full suit? Come on, try to stay more accurate to the comics, folks. And I was like, okay. And like how he used it though, just like everyone has mentioned, yeah, he definitely is ruthless. This Scorpion is very ruthless. I believe it's really supposed to be that same character that we saw in Spider-Man Homecoming. That goes into jail with the Vulture. That I believe it's that same person that it's supposed to be. And I thought that was kind of funny that they decided to go with that. I was like, oh, interesting. But like has the suit like gamma radiation keeps altering and stuff like that, and it like you can see that it's like binding more and more to his body. You're just kind of like, well, it looks like what happened to Doc Ock is going to happen to this guy. He's not going to be able to get that suit off. And but the fight was pretty good. I mean, basically him piercing Spider-Man was really interesting. Going through that suit, which it's like they kept saying he should have been able to go through that suit. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm like, they're using some sort of different type of metal here, I believe, in making these Doc Ock is using. So I'm surprised it wouldn't penetrate, Peter's suit because it looks like it's just latex. Don't look like it's anything other than latex to me. I mean, I didn't realize it's supposed to be puncture resistant or something like that, like gloves or something. That was never mentioned, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, that fight sequence was just really dope, really well done, really enjoyable, and just really, finished off the episode really strong. So really great ending to this episode, really fun. It had me the whole time. I thought it was a really great episode. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really solid. So I'd have to give it an 8 as well.
Very good. Yeah. Same here. I'll push it higher. I'll give it 8.5 out of 10. I think one thing I thought this episode and next episode did very well was to push forward the storyline for Spider-Man to finally like step up to become the Spider-Man we know, which we're seeing here with these episodes building up. I really like this take on the Scorpion. I totally forgot about the Spider-Man Homecoming version, and I think that's a good version because, like, if anyone knows who Scorpion is, like, he's this like low criminal that initially in the comic books and even the '90s show, if you watch that, he was this like reporter that was hired by Jameson, Joe Jameson, to follow Peter because he always wants to know like how the hell Peter Parker took the photos of Spider-Man, and that's how like Scorpion came into the Spider-Man universe. And he asked Scorpion, Jameson asked Mac to join in this project to defeat Spider-Man. Like, it's actually Jameson is the reason that Scorpion became a thing. But we see a different version here, and I like the version we got here. And I agree with you, Cyber. I kind of wish we have the full-on costume. Hopefully, we'll get that.
Wasn't Scorpion in the Sinister Six?
Yeah, he's in the Sinister Six. Like later on. But yeah. So I mean, hopefully we get the Sinister Six soon, and he will probably be in there. This version they had that. But yeah, so I think this is a good episode, and I think
they're not gonna do the Sinister Six like they.
Oh yeah. What you mean this show? I mean they're gonna do
in general. Maybe in this show they could do it. You know what I mean? But they're not gonna do it in the MCU.
No. We're not gonna. No. I'm saying that we're gonna get it in this show. I'm not saying they're gonna get that in the MCU. That's like
in this show we could get it. We could get it. That's possible. They can drop the Vulture in there and all that.
Yeah. So no. I mean we're already past that. So let's get into episode 8. So again we pick up where we were left off here. So like Oscorp, Osborn saves Spider-Man. The Oscorp medics are like tending to Spider-Man and his wounds, and the company is trying to like save him. They retrieve sample of his blood. You see, like they were taking some blood. Watch that. That could be a potential storyline. After that, Peter wakes up. Norman tells him that he's okay. He just is recovering. He told him that he already covered him with Aunt May. He told him that he's with him and all that's like sleeping over with Harry and all that. He tells tells Peter to rest before reminding him that he needs to push himself to a higher level, which we see later on Peter's conscious. Like Peter is feeling some doubt of him being Spider-Man, which is good. That's part of Spider-Man's lore. By the way, I just want a quick thing. Just the credits, the title sequence that we get for the Spider-Man episodes are amazing. I love the comic book panels, and I like how every time we end the song, the Spider-Man title song for the credits, we see like a very cool cover page of this episode here, homaging Spider-Man No More. We saw that last episode where we see briefly Scorpion attacking Spider-Man. We lost Jeff. Hopefully he comes back. Just want to say the animation here is spectacular. I like the credit sequence. I really like how they're like paying off the episodes that we're gonna get in the front covers there. So after that, Peter leaves the hospital very quietly by walking up to the wall here before learning that his experiment with Dr. Connors is really working. He gets he has to kind of like some of his colleagues that he got mugged in the street. So you see here interacting with Cho and the other kids, and Dr. Connors tells him to rest now. And so after that, he goes home and he May sees the bruises, and he's trying to assure the worry made that he was just skateboarding, and this had the accent. This scene is with Aunt May was very touching. Obviously, she's despite he loves Aunt May, he doesn't want to worry her too much, and I really really like that she encouraged her, expresses her wishes that they still have Uncle Ben to turn to, discuss these kind of things. Yeah, so that's what happened, and I thought that was a good tender thing. At the same time, we get also Norman. He sent the Octavius location to, speaking of characters, Thunderbolt Ross, the United States Secretary of the State, to arrest Octavius for violating the Sokovia Accords. And speaking of comic book accuracy, as you were speaking for Cyber, Dr. Octopus is wearing his comic book suit. So I don't get why we didn't get, Jeff is back. And, full on Scorpion suit. But anyway, so Octavius, this was a cool scene. We got Octavius using these robotic tentacles that that is his tentacles. That was cool to foreshadow. And he's so cocky, he's attacking them. I really dug really dug the tentacles attacking, because it's kind of similar to the hospital attack in Spider-Man 2. If anyone knows Spider-Man 2, when Octavius wakes up, when the tentacles have bond to his body, he attacks literally half the hospital staff. So that was kind of similar to this scene where Octavius attacking the FBI or the SWAT teams. But before he escapes, he runs up to Thunderbolt Ross, but it was not that. It was actually the assistant of Iron Man that stopped Octavius to move forward, and so he surrenders. So let me stop here. Let me go to you, Cyber. What you thought about the beginning of this episode up to Dr. Octopus getting arrested by Iron Man?
So this episode I thought was pretty decent too. At the same time, I thought it started off pretty solid, giving us that, showing that Pete's fine and that, he's healing pretty quickly. And, Norman's there and he's, basically saying, you're in this experimental wing. Don't worry. We took care of your aunt, and, you can leave when you need to, when you're ready. And, basically kind of, mentioning how, that you need to be better type of deal, kind of giving him a pep talk when he doesn't understand that it's a pep talk kind of deal. And so I think that, once again, it's showing kind of that mentorship where misdirecting words are there to help encourage, to push you in the right direction. And that's kind of, what he's showing there. And I like that. I appreciate that, because it's very much like what Tony did in Homecoming. And so then, him going to class, I thought that was kind of funny. Him all banged up, and they're all like, what the hell happened to you? And I got mugged. And then him going home and finally, seeing Aunt May and stuff like that. And, basically kind of crying on her shoulder, kind of. And, I just want to make sure you're safe and okay. And you can trust me, that blah, blah, blah. And, and I just think that, it's, pretty much your typical Aunt May Peter thing. And, basically what would, more be like a Ben and Peter moment, type of deal, which is what was in the comics. And, so I think that, that's, pretty basic. You saw that coming. You knew that type of thing was coming. It wasn't necessary. Yes and no, but at the same time, I think that it played off okay. And, basically, leading up to Doc Ock's place, I thought the whole banter between him and his assistant guy was absolutely hilarious. That cracked me the fuck up. He's like, "You want me to bring you some soup? Did you eat?" That was freaking hilarious. And he's playing some freaking game, and he's like, "I just have to make some Bitcoin here," and blah blah blah. It's freaking hilarious. And then, once the FBI shows up, you're just kind of like, oh shit. And then he starts doing all these things he has in his lab, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, this is badass. And they're like fighting off the arms and shit. And I'm like, he has arms, but they're not attached to him. I'm like, that's a little odd. I'm like, I was expecting him to be attached to him, not like up in the ceiling and shit and like using them and stuff. And I'm like, those are really flawed fucking ass arms. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like those things gotta be like 20 feet long. I'm like, holy shit. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. It's okay, I guess, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I'm not big into it, but it's okay. And then like using those different like tools he has, like that little bomb thing that like basically like stops them in their path. It's like a electro. It's like a almost like a flash bomb. That was really cool. And then him using this stunner on that one guy was freaking hilarious. And then Iron Man showed up. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, holy shit, Iron Man showed up. No way. And like, it's supposed to be Tony Stark and it's supposed to sound like Robert Downey Jr. I'm like, that's freaking sweet. And then Ross showed up too, Thunderbolt Ross. And I was like, oh, it actually looks like Thunderbolt Ross. It doesn't look like Harrison Ford. Which freaking lose the mustache or lose the presidency. Oh my god, that was the fucking stupidest line ever. Anyways,
yeah.
But anyways, it looked like William Hurt, which was great. It kind of was a mixture of William Hurt and I felt Sam Elliott a little bit. It had a little Sam Elliott going on for it. But I thought that was freaking awesome. I love that. I thought that whole sequence was really fantastic with Doc Ock. I think the voiceover of Doc Ock is really hilarious. And it's very nerdish and sophisticated at the same time, but it has like that kind of like gay tone almost to it. Like, so it totally makes me think of like if it was Truman Capote playing Doc Ock, Yes, you could. That was fast. It was kind of, that's what it kind of made me think of. It even kind of looks like Truman Capote a little bit. So I think that, it's well done, Doc Ock. I think it's pretty funny. And I think that the beginning is really solid, really great start. We get to see Doc Ock and we get to see Iron Man, Thunderbolt Ross. Really solid beginning.
Yeah. I did appreciate that Iron Man and Thunderbolt look like somewhat their comic book counterparts. I was kind of happy they didn't look like their MCU stuff. Like, I was happy. I agree with you. Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross looked like almost like a mashup to William Hurt's version from the Incredible Hulk to, Sam Elliott's version of the Hulk, the Ian Lee version, which is cool. So Jeff, tell me about your thoughts on the beginning part up to, Dr. Octopus getting arrested with Thunderbolt Ross and Iron Man.
Well, Cyber already talked about it. I mean, pretty much. It's Spider-Man's healing, and the Doc Ock stuff is kind of weird. Like, like with the music and all that, and him kind of like dancing around with the music and all that, like why he's escaping and everything. The way they decided to use the arms, like as an extension that wasn't a part of him. You know what I mean? Was different, you know what I'm saying? Like, definitely different kind of like thing than what we're used to seeing. I think that there's not really much else to say really about that part of the episode. There's seeing Iron Man was cool, and Thunderbolt Ross again. I enjoyed that, getting them involved to catch Dr. Octopus. And I guess this is a Dr. Octopus that doesn't have the arms attached to his back or something like that, or he hasn't gotten to that point yet or something, But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. No, I agree. This episode, actually, it's kind of funny. Last episode, it was a way heavy action episode here. And this episode, we're talking, and we're going to wrap up now, episode 8. It's more of like a kind of like moody kind of episode, where Pierce like reflecting on his attack on Scorpion, the attack from Scorpion, because they did really attack him. So I understand the weird thing of having not Otto yet have his octopus tentacle arms. This is just a setup, so I think we're gonna get him to have the arms onto his body in probably season 2, probably. So, but so it was a good. This part was just like foreshadow his eventual like down to his arms, and plus we get briefly when as Cyber brought up the assistant, who was funny, by the way. The assistant was funny when he asked him about the suit. You see to the left corner that he is building up his tentacles, and that he's probably going to use vibranium to like make the metal into his arms. That's going to be interesting in the later season, in season 2 maybe. But yeah. So anyway, so Peter, so let me get here. So speaking of Peter, let's kind of get back to the 1/10 game, because we already talked about the whole Lincoln theme, but this episode we get Lincoln and Donovan and again meeting up with another Spider-Man villain, Dimitri, aka the Chameleon, and he directs them to Octavia's abandoned warehouse, where now they're going to plan to use the technology from Octavius to combat the Scorpion again and Gargan himself. So I really like the scene. This was kind of cool to see the Chameleon already with his comic book accurate mask. That was neat. So we're going to see that, and I think this is where maybe Tombstone will become Tombstone if he touched one of the technology. We'll see about that. So now Ben. So now we're going to go back to Peter. So Peter, without Ben, Peter turns to Norman for advice, and Norman talks to him. He believes why Peter lost to Gargan is because he was holding back. So he wants him to go forward and kill probably Gargan, and he does the infamous great power comes great responsibility. But instead of responsibility, he tells him with great power comes great respect, and that's like very scary and like, okay, that's really wrong of you, Norman. So Norman is not a good mentor for Peter, and I think we kind of see that now. So after that, when Norman leaves for the Gaporian meeting that he's talking, Harry reveals to Peter that he first up there was a crime that is happening, which is one of the trucks is getting vandalized by something, by a gang or something. So Peter doesn't have the suit because the suit is already damaged. Harry reveals to Peter that him and several of the Oscorp scientists develop a new Spider-Man suit for him. That he like based it on Peter's dueling and the color that he wants to do by adding the red and blue that's from Captain America. And we get a really cool shot of the iconic Spider-Man face into Peter's glasses, and then we cut to blank, and that's the end of the episode. So that's the episode. Very calm episode, not an action-packed one for episode 7. So let me get to you, Jeff. What do you thought about the ending? Are you excited to finally have the suit, the classic suit? And tell me your rating of episode 8, sir.
This one's I'm gonna rate like a 5. It's not a really good episode. Not a lot happens. It's kind of a dead kind of part of the episode. Just a lot of just a lot of like exposition. Like kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Then the reveal of the new suit. Which is good that he's going to get the original suit. That's cool. You know what I mean? But besides that, he tried to connect with Nico and couldn't get a hold of her and everything, obviously, episode 8 was really kind of just not a good episode. I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest with you. There wasn't a lot that happened. Other than Octavius, and his deal and everything, and his warehouse getting busted, other than that, there really wasn't much to it.
Awesome. Rating? You already said your rating. 5. Was it 5 out of 10? Something like that.
Yeah, I give it a 5.
Yeah. Saber. Your thoughts on the final part and rating?
So the ending of this, I think the best part was when Harry kind of gets Peter thinking at the very end, like, my dad was teaching you a lesson, and he was teaching you a lesson by saying that maybe you need somebody that's more along your line. And, that's why he left him with Peter and had them stay in the room together to kind of show that Peter, that what the push he needed to start moving in that direction that he needed to go to get to that optimal level that he was looking for Peter to have. So I thought that was done really well. I really liked that. I mean, I think, this episode definitely was more of a downer. Kind of like what Jeff said, it's nowhere as good as 7. And, it kind of brings us to, getting us to the kind of the climax of this season, where, episodes 9 and 10 will be kind of that giant climax, kind of Peter coming into his own kind of deal. And so I think that this was kind of the episode that was kind of like, well, we need to get a little information in there. Let's put in a little information here, kind of that mentorship thing. And that's kind of what I felt like how this ending was. It was kind of a lesson to him. We see Peter kind of down as, Norman saying this stuff to him, and, him dealing with Nico and stuff like that. So, all this kind of stuff was, I felt unnecessary for the series. Like, they could have just skipped this crap and, have him just battling villains throughout the whole series and, like, dealing with being Spider-Man. And, I just thought this whole episode was kind of just like, kind of dumb, because Harry trying to get Nico to forgive Peter and shit like that. I was kind of like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, what is this necessary to the story of the plot or the plot line of this, of Spider-Man, other than let's make this a teen drama? And I was just like, I just don't get the need for this to be such a teen drama. It's freaking Spider-Man. It's supposed to be about a superhero saving people from bad guys. So I thought, once again, the teen drama kind of was a little too much for the episode. Once again, it definitely was overheaving, unlike the last episode, because like everyone has mentioned, lots of great action in the last episode. This one really didn't have much, except for that scene with Doc Ock. So, I would say definitely the ending was probably the best part because it finally ends. And, but at the same time, I thought that the whole, like, kind of Pete kind of like getting an idea and kind of growing mentally and growing into the Spider-Man needs to be was a really nice push to push him in. And then that, final image of him in the glasses of the Spider-Man suit, that was freaking cool. So I definitely a decent ending to a pretty lackluster episode. So I have to give this one, I'm only giving it a 6 because I love that last shot of the Spider-Man suit. So I give it a 6.
Yeah, I'll be a little higher with you guys. I'm just gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was decently good. I thought this really captured the Spider-Man drama from the comic books. But I agree, like, we already seen the teen drama with the Tom Holland films. I kind of do agree. Maybe we should have it. Like, if you're gonna go like a different take on this version of Spider-Man, I think you could have done the adult Spider-Man in the show. Like, I don't know what's the big deal. Like, the PS4 video game Spider-Man is adult, and I like that version. I never have a problem with the adult version of Peter Parker, and I get, the teenage Spider-Man thing is from the early comic books, Steve Ditko and, Stanley stuff. But yeah, I agree with you guys. This is definitely the weak episode of the bunch. It's not as good as episode 7 because it was action-packed and I like it more, as you guys were saying. But yeah, so I just want to say thank you everyone for joining us. For the recap for episode 7 and 8 of Friendly Limited Spider-Man. We're going to come back next Monday to wrap up the whole series with 9 and 10. So now let's get into the big deal. Of course, we're discussing, of course, Cyber hinted at Captain America, Brave New World, this is the new MCU film that we have for 2025. So basically, this is the fourth installment for the Captain America film series, a continuation of the television miniseries Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and the 35th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It stars Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Danny Remus, Kerr Lomby, and of course the one and only Harrison Ford. So I want to start with general thoughts, and then we go into spoiler thoughts. So I want to start with you, Cyber. What's your thoughts on Captain America 4? Did you like it, dislike it? And do you agree with the people what they were saying about this film afterwards? You know, with the reshoots and all that. What is your thoughts overall before we get into spoiler review?
Were you talking to me?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear my name. Sorry.
Yeah,
Overall, so as I mentioned to Jeff earlier, a couple days ago, I was surprisingly shocked at how much I enjoyed it. With all the rumors and everything circling about how much of a crap film this is, overall, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very entertaining. I thought that it got the point across. It gave us some interesting stuff, and overall, for what it was very fun and entertaining.
No, I agree. No, I agree. Jeff, your thoughts, sir, on Captain America 4? Any new thoughts you want to bring up before, you know, that you didn't bring up yesterday?
Kind of the same thing that Cyber just said, you know, like the movie has its flaws without question. Like, you know, like a lot of them have been publicly already talked about, you know, and a lot of them are real, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about that. We'll address those flaws, like, you know, throughout the review or whatever, you know, like I'll point them out, you know, or say when I think that, you know, they were or whatever, you know. But overall, I enjoyed my experience in the theater seeing the film. You know, so like I walked away happy with it, you know. I didn't like the end credit scene very much. You know, I didn't think that really did anything for me. But overall, it was a mid-tier MCU film. You know, like that's what it is. You know, it's a mid-tier MCU film. It's not a top notch, not a top caliber one. But it's for what it is. It was an enjoyable film to see.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so I saw the film Wednesday, and then yesterday before I did the live stream with Boogie Nights with Jeff. By the way, thank you, Jeff, for joining me on yesterday. I was surprised to see it the second time, and I gotta say, I agree with both of you guys, particularly with you, Cyber. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the film. I will say my enjoyment wasn't because of the Red Hulk stuff. I thought that this was the best Harrison Ford role he did. He's having a great time in this film. I thought he was really the best. I thought his storyline of like trying to redeem himself towards his daughter Betty Ross, who's a major character in the Hulk comics and, you know, the movies. If you know her, she's in the film, but not enough. I wish to really get that emotion behind the whole Red Hulk stuff, but she's there, which is good. And I just felt like it was I was so happy they pay off the Incredible Hulk storyline stuff that they didn't pick up these 17 years. I was talking to Jeff yesterday, you know, we like the Incredible Hulk. I like the Incredible Hulk. I know it's not a perfect MCU film, but I love it. I think it's a good action film. But saying that, there is some problem with the film. I think it has a lot of plot holes that is like, wow, just towards the end of the film, you could tell they reshot the film, and it's not a big deal. It's just 1, 2, 3 there. It's not like you know, every movie has bad CGI. You know, it's not the worst CGI in certain films. Yeah, and so I agree with Jeff that it's a mid-tier film. If you like check out my movie review and my Instagram. I say before, it's a confident movie. Like it offers the fun that you're looking for an MC film, but it doesn't live up to all the Captain America films we have. It's no Winter Soldier or Civil
No,
War. No,
not at all. Not at
yeah,
all.
yeah, exactly. So don't think like don't go into that film that you're gonna get that. It's just a mid-tier film. I mean, I say this with Jeff, and Jeff's kind of in agreement. Like, it's better than Thor and Love and Thunder. It's better than the Marvels. It's better than like Secret Invasion. Like, it's better than the worst things we have from Phase 4 to Phase 5. But
It's better than Quantum Mania.
yeah,
It's better than the Eternals.
yeah, exactly. So I think you guys will enjoy this more than that. So let's get into spoilers. So were you guys surprised? Oh, the Bucky scene. Let me start with that. Were you guys surprised with the Bucky scene? I was surprised that we got him here. I was happy we got confirmed that he's gonna run was it the Congress in New York for that leads up to the Thunderbolts. That I appreciate because I was wondering what's going on with him in the Thunderbolt trailers. I'll start with you, Cyber. Were you surprised that Bucky came into the picture in the cameo, and you like his cameo in the film?
Not surprised. I
Okay.
knew he'd pop up because he was in Falcon Winter Soldier, and I knew that they would have to fit him in to get them, pushing towards Thunderbolts because that's the next one to come out in May. So I was not shocked. I was glad that we did get to see him, and I was glad that they told us what he's doing, and I thought that was fantastic. It gave Sam that great kind of uplifting push he needed.
Did you guys like the joke about like he got it from his what was it, like his campaign writers, whatever, like to write that speech towards the end? That was funny. I mean, it was funny. I thought it was funny that he got the speech from his like campaign runners or writers, whatever. Jeff, any thoughts on the whole Bucky thing? I don't know if you were surprised about that either.
It was predictable. It was a pretty simple scene, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
good to see Bucky again, you know what I'm saying? But that's about it.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was I was happy to see Sebastian Stan in the film. I really missed their relationship, their like buddy time, because I thought that was the best theme from the show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I was happy to see him there. I thought he really add like some of the humor and the emotional weight there. So we get into I'll just read the Wikipedia and get into like just like what I thought about the whole plot here. About so like the opening here, we got like the 5 months theme where we see Thunderbolt Ross elected as president of the United States. By the way, if you guys are wondering, we're not going to address Secret Invasion. This movie doesn't address Secret Invasion, so we don't know what's happened to the other president. What's his name? Whitson, whatever, from Secret Invasion. So the movie does address like the Marvel stuff from Eternals, the Incredible Hulk, and of course Falcon and Winter Soldier, but they're not going to address Secret Invasion. So don't expect them to do that because that show was so bad. But anyway, so we see him, as becoming president, and he does his speech here. And here, speaking Cyber, you brought up the dialogue. This is where it was so obvious with the reshoot. They did this like very bad, like exposition of like catching up the audience of the Incredible Hulk. And it's like, President Ross has been elected as president, and many are questioning of his like unethical and controversial like run as a general. And like we saw clips of the Harlem attack from the Incredible Hulk. We see briefly Harrison Ford in the mustache, which is funny. And like we see him like having his chancha and like he just like pushed the poem down, which was like it was funny. I couldn't take that seriously, so that was very funny. And then apparently they know that like Betty Ross is the ex-girlfriend of Bruce Banner. That was funny. I was like how the hell do you know that Betty Ross is the ex-girlfriend of Bruce Banner? Like, okay, so really bad exposition from the beginning here. But then we cut back to 5 months later. Like we see the Sam Wilson, like in the new Falcon, played by Danny Ramirez, to go to Mexico to stop an illegal sale of a stolen item by the Serpent Society, a rogue special ops team led by Sidewinder, played by Giancarlo Expedito, in the film, and he's the new cast member that got into the reshoots here. By the way, this is a good opening. I actually like it. It's by the way, we didn't mention the action. The action is okay in this film, but I thought this opening was fun. So you see how Wilson is been operating as Captain America. He they recovered the item, but Sidewinder escapes. Torres is excited to be taking on Wilson's former mentor as the Falcon, while at the same time, Wilson is hesitant to involve Tara's, Tauros in the dangerous missions due to the pirate not having superpowers like Captain America and all that. And then after the mission, Wilson and Torres train with Isaiah Briley, the former super soldier who was in prison and experimented on by the U.S. government. So let me stop there. Starting with you, Jeff. What you thought about the opening of the Captain America 4? Do you like it? Did it get you into the film enough before the really bad stuff?
Yeah, I dug it. It was okay. I don't like the new Falcon suit. I don't like it. I don't like his costume at all. But besides that, the first mission was good to get the admantanium or whatever, reobtain the admantanium. It was good, and Sidewinder was good and everything, and Sam Wilson was good. His hand-to-hand combat was good. He had to fight that big dude. You know what I'm saying? I thought his use of the shield was good. He looked good. He looked good using the shield. So yeah. It was a good beginning, good start.
Cyber, what you thought about this opening? Do you like it? Did it got you hooked into the film? Any nitpicks you wanted to say about this opening?
Well, where did you go to, sir?
Up to when they meet up with Bradley in the training in his gym. That's where I stopped. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, the beginning of the film is your basic Captain America kind of beginning to a film, as we've seen in the other films, like Civil War and with Winter Soldier, they had kind of like an opening kind of like action sequence. Captain America 1, we kind of had that, kind of action a little bit too as well. But overall, the beginning of this film leading up to Bradley, I thought it was not too bad. It got me into the film. I thought that it could have been better, most definitely. But overall, I think that for what it is and for what reshoots and rewrites and all that stuff, I thought that it still got the point across and got the movie started and giving us, some good action to get us off with and really pulling it in to kind of bring you into, okay, now we're going to Bradley. He's going to be a part of the main story. So I thought that it was decent.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the opening was okay. I didn't care about that joke with I agree with Jeff about the new Falcon suit with Danny or Torres, whatever. Like, it's from the comics, but I don't know. Like, I think they could have done better with that suit. And I like Sidewinder. I thought Giancarlo Expedito was great as Sidewinder. I kind of wish we got more of him, which we'll get into later of this plot synopsis. But yeah, I thought this opening was great. Got me into the film really well. I thought the action was good. But yeah, so let's kind of move on to it. So after they were training with Bradley in the gym, Wilson gets a call from the president that he kind of invites him to a party or like an invitation, and so Ross invites Wilson and Torres to to meeting with the world leaders at the White House, and Wilson did accept on the condition that Bradley is also invited, which he does. So they go into the limo, they go to the White House, they take some pictures, and then Ross asks Wilson to come over to the East Room, and he asked him to help him reform the Avengers. So we get finally it get push now, like, okay, where are the Avengers? And we get the confirmation that, okay, Wilson will probably get the Avengers together, which we get towards the end of the film. He's like going to do it in this film, going to do it after this film, which is good. So after that, during the summit conference, Ross explains, this is where we get to pay off the celestial island, they call it, the eternal creature that's in the earth from the Eternals. We get a payoff for that from the Indian Ocean. By the way, I don't know how they got the name the celestial, but one person, the Screen Crush, actually got a good idea that probably Ross or the White House talked to one of the Asgards or like Valkyrie maybe to like get confirmation of what type of alien. That's probably explains how they know the name the Celestial, because that was a weird thing I saw the first time. I was like, how the hell they knew about the name Celestial? Like they don't know what kind of creature this is. So I like the Screen Crush theory that they probably went to New Asgard to like talk to either Valkyrie or someone that they knows about this creature. They had the knowledge of what kind of creature this is, so they explained that they're celestial. So okay, that makes sense. I'll take that, but whatever. So Ross explains that they found a new metal in this creature called adamantium. So we got our, finally adamantium in the MCU. If anyone knows, that's the metal that Wolverine uses in his claws. That's what Stryker did to him in the Fox X-Men films, and that's what Deadpool's katana were in Deadpool Wolverine. So the adamantium is a new rare metal, and Ross says that this will be equally spread with each country, like Japan, India, and Paris, because it's not being held by a isolated country, aka Wakanda, because we gotta mention vibranium here, and that they explained that also this adamantium is much stronger than vibranium, so that's cool. So the recording ions were the first refined samples of the metal, were stolen from, he congratulate, Captain America and the Falcon for retrieving the stolen thing from the Japanese mining operation from the Serpent Society. So and to avoid like armed race for this. So Ross is proposing a treaty to govern the adamantium's mining and distribution. While they talk about this, all of a sudden there's a song called Mr. Blue. I play by the band Dwayne Blackhill, hit from the Fleetwoods, a song from November 1959, and it plays and causes several men, including Bradley, suddenly to begin attack on everyone in that room, including Ross. Bradley starts shooting at Ross, and everyone just gets taken down by Bradley, taken down by Sam and Torres, and then by this mysterious woman that's short, called Ruth. We'll get into it. They get apprehended by Ross' head secretary from her and everyone, the men regain their senses and deny any knowledge of the attack, so they don't know what happened. So let me stop here. Start with you, Jeff. What you thought about the Bradley stuff, and getting introduced to adamantium into the MCU? What you thought about the attack of the man being brainwashed by the sun? Go ahead.
It was cool. Isaiah Bradley was cool to carry over from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was all right in the film. The attack was well done. Sam and Torres acted appropriately and everything during it and everything. I've already told you that that Ruth character, the head of security character or whatever, they could have had her in the film or not had her in the film, and it wouldn't have mattered, I don't think. You know what I mean? That's how important she really was kind of on the film. It's a solid, it's a solid part of the film. Solid Harrison Ford stuff, good Harrison Ford stuff, And you know, then of course, you know, Harrison Ford gets pissed off at Sam and tells him to go fuck off, you know. So
Yeah, I like you say, I like how was it General Ross saying,
you're not
"You're
Steve
not Steve
Rogers.
Rogers," and like he's like, "Okay, boy, leave," or son, and like you know, Sam Wilson takes offended with like him calling him son and all that. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, the Roof character is so bad. Ugh, hate her. Anyway, Saber, what you thought about the whole Isaiah Bradley and the whole like the whole people getting brainwashed during the submit White House? We're ending up to when Isaac Bradley gets arrested outside of the White House. Go ahead.
So fucked up is what this is. You know, Isaiah Bradley already was in jail for many, many years because he was a part of this super soldier, you know, program. And so when all of a sudden he like gets brainwashed and like shoots at the president, I was like, oh man, come on. And then several other people being brainwashed too as well, you know, getting doing the same thing, was like, somebody's controlling them. What's going on? Why is this song being used? And so I think that, you know, the whole introduction to Animanium is fucking awesome. Absolutely love it. Love that we're finally getting some X-Men references in the MCU. I think it was so freaking awesome. I was so ecstatic about that when I saw that in the trailer. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, Animanium. And the fact that the Celestials are made out of Animanium, I think that's kind of interesting. That it's, you know, where did the Animanium come from, you know, after all? Because if you ever remember, in most other movies, it's pulled out of the ground just like vibranium. So I think that's kind of interesting that they have it where they're introduced to Animanium through the Celestials, which that was one thing I absolutely loved about this film, is that they finally talked about that fucking Celestial in the giant ocean. Like, seriously, like, why haven't you talked about this yet? Like, I needed to know shit, because we already know you're not making another Turtles film yet. So please tell me what happened to Kumatut, whatever the fuck his name was. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was so happy about that. But and the fact that he is made out of all of Animanium was a freaking awesome thing too. So I was so psyched about that. That just like I was like, ah. So I think that was really cool. And then basically seeing Bradley kind of in action was really cool. Him jumping through the window, jumping out, running towards the park and stuff like that was really cool. And then him like kind of finally coming out of the daze and waking up when they capture him. It was like he's like, oh shit, what happened? And you're just thinking like, ah, damn, Bradley, we don't want you to go back to jail, bro. Like, oh, that sucks. That's how we met you in the other, in Falcon and Winter Soldier. You've been in hiding for many, many years. I'm like, this really sucks for the poor guy. So I was like kind of mad that he was getting arrested a little bit. I was like, come on. But overall, I think that this section is really interesting. The whole Sam, President Ross, talk there real quickly, about him bringing the Avengers back. I was like, the Avengers? What? Like the Avengers? Like, what? Like, what's going on here? So I was psyched about that because that definitely is, pushing towards the reference of the next two Avenger films, Secret Wars and, Doomsday. And so I think that was really fun that, they finally were saying, hey, we're going to bring the Avengers back, when, Ross and stuff like that. But yeah, that freaking line, he's like, you lose the mustache or lose the election, cracked me the hell up because even with the damn mustache, he don't look like William Hurt. I'm sorry. Him and William Hurt look nothing alike. So it's kind of like, how stupid can you be? I mean, somebody watching it is going to go like, that doesn't look like William Hurt at all. Like, seriously, like, he totally looks completely different body structure, too. So it was like cracked me up with how they try to like make it like, oh, it's still the same guy. I'm just like, what the hell? But I thought, Ford did an okay job. I thought he played his usual self, and I thought he did he did a decent, take on Ross, but I'm sorry, nobody will play him like Williams did. He was just utterly fantastic as the character. So decent section, really fun, interesting. I thought some great action, some interesting words exchanged that leads to an unfortunate arrest.
No, I agreed. Yeah, Bradley was the best thing about this movie. By the way, I love Kurt Lumby. He's a great actor. If I mean, you had to be my age because he's the actor that voiced Martian Manhunter in the Justice League cartoon. So I just love him. He's my favorite version of Martian Manhunter in DC. And just when I heard he was going to be in the MCU, I was like, oh, perfect. He was the best thing from the TV show Falcon and Winter Soldier. I wish he was more in this film. He really brings the heart, and like I felt the plot was moving forward because of him. And it was so weird when like even the second time yesterday when I was talking with my mom, it was weird that like he disappeared the film, before he gets released. And I was like, come on, like focus more on Bradley. I thought he's the best thing about the movie. And again, we'll get into the nitpicks. Like this movie doesn't feel like a Captain America film. It feels more like a Hulk film. And we'll get into the end if you guys feel like that. But again, I it's tough. Like anyway, it's very annoying. But so after the attack, right? This is where we get like a sort of like pseudo Winter Soldier like copy, which is so weird. So like Wilson wants to clear the innocent of Bradley. So he goes off an investigation. As Cyber brought up before, we got the scene of the bunker where like Sam talks to President Ross. He tells him, look, Bradley doesn't know what happened. He was like completely under control and like he didn't plan this attack. So he goes behind the president's back. So while investigating this, Wilson is he does meets up with Bradley in the prison. Great scene, by the way. I love that scene. Very dramatic and like again, Kurt Lumbly is just killing it in this film. And at the same time, we see like the former Black Widow Rufus there, like she's like spying on Sam, and like she's also doing the investigation. So after leaving the prison, Wilson is talking to Torres to like track down what's going on with the attack in the White House, and he finds that something happened during the phones. Some strange blue light affected Bradley and the couple of the assailants that attack President Ross and everyone in that room. And Wilson tells Torres to track what was happening. And then Wilson gets ambushed by Sidewinder. So we get again Giancarlo Esposito being awesome as always. I love this scene. Him getting ambushed by Sidewinder. Great action scene, but easily Sidewinder gets subdued by Captain America and captures him. After that, Torres tracks a call, and this is the first time we hear Tim Blake Nelson again as the leader. So he talks to Captain America here, and like he has bigger plans, and he will see him soon. So after that attack, he goes back to I guess their superhero layer, Captain America layer. We see this big star in the window. Okay, so that's their layer, their secret layer, the Bat Cave, the Captain America cave. And Torres tracks the call from Sidewinder's phone. They hidden a hidden black site in the West Virginia called Camp Echo 1. And so Ross, meantime, is trying to salvage the treaty. He's still in the bunker. So he leaves, goes over to Japan to like get Japan be over the side because Paris and India agreed to be patient. They will wait, but they want the Japanese government to like go by this side. But when Ross arrives over the Japanese government, they blame him for the death of the adamantium and the assumpted White House attack because apparently their intel told them that this was set up by America, which is not true. And because after that, because Ross realized that the mastermind behind these events is Dr. Samuel Stern or Sam, Dr. Sam Stearns from the Incredible Hulk, who gained advanced intelligence after being exposed to Bruce Banner's blood. If anyone doesn't remember, in the Incredible Hulk, when the Abomination, Bloxy gets the Bruce Banner blood turned into the Abomination form, Dr. Stearns got knocked out by Abomination to the floor. The blood from Bruce Banner goes into Stearns' wound, and his head literally was like growing and popping in and out, and that indicated that he became the leader. So that's what happened during the rampage during the Holland's sequence in the Incredible Hulk, and apparently Ross imprisoned Stearns at Camp Echo One to publicly blame him for the Abomination actions. That's what happened, and he's been pretty much a puppet for Ross to build all the weaponized technology and all that over the years, and help Ross to become the president, because apparently he knows about this what was the word, like theory and like coronation, all that, like very scientific thing. And so, but he promised him to release him after the election, which Stern helped him advance in the presidency. But he could have let him go because of personal reasons, which we'll get into when we get into the Celestial attack. So Listen and Torres find Stearns. They find him there, and they learn how he used the technology to brainwash Bradley and everyone by using this like very clear blue light, but also the song Mr. Blue. By the way, another cool thing I like about this song, Mr. Blue, that was a cool callback to the code name Mr. Blue that the leader was using in the Incredible Hulk. If you remember, when Bruce Banner was trying to cure himself from the Hulk, he was emailing the leader by code name. He was called Mr. Green, and Mr. Blue was the leader. So that was kind of cool that they called back to that theme from the Incredible Hulk. So that was nice to, from the song here. So that was nice. So they learned that he's using this song to control minds. That's basically. And they meet him up. He explained that he wants to turn down General Ross, his reputation down to the ground. And before he does that, he begs, Wilson and Torres to leave it be, but they don't do that. So instead, he escapes while they're finding more mind control soldiers. So let me stop there. Jeff, what you thought about this sequence, seeing again Sidewinder, and then him getting captured, and then them meeting up the leader? What you thought about the leader design? Like, were you happy to see the leader here and all that?
No,
Go ahead.
I didn't think the leader was very effective in the movie, like as a villain. I didn't think he was very effective. He didn't get enough screen time. He just wasn't very effective. Same thing with Sidewinder, not enough screen time. He was good in this part, but he didn't get enough screen time. This was it. We saw him and then he was gone. The action scene, where they have to fight hand to hand with all those brainwashed soldiers is pretty solid. That's a pretty good action scene. Sam using the shield and shit like that and everything. Like I said, I like Sam's hand to hand combat skills. Were top notch in the film. They were really really good. And Torres was okay too, besides that, like I said, I didn't like the way the leader looked, at all. And, I didn't feel like he was really a good villain really at all. They didn't set him up to be a very good villain really at all. I didn't think, he was kind of misused a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of feel like they shouldn't use I kind of wish they used the Serpent Society as villains for this film, because again, like using the leader, you're just using a Hulk villain. Like, it doesn't make sense to use a Hulk villain for a Captain America film. So it doesn't make sense. I agree with you. I don't mind the design. It's okay, but I don't know. I just felt like they just didn't know what to do with his character design, and you could tell that it's like, especially him, he's all reshoot, because I know because they had leaked stuff of his design that looked more comic accurate, because they were afraid they would be like too similar to Mordok from Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. So they went for a more realistic design, but I don't know. It didn't work. Cyber, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on, the Sidewinder attacking Captain America in the streets up to, our heroes meeting up to the leader? Do you like the leader? You like his design and all that? Go ahead.
I like when my camera stays still. Anyways, if you wanted to see just the back of me, here we go, folks. Anyways, the leader, just like Jeff said, he definitely wasn't the greatest villain, because they really didn't make him out to be very villain-ish. It was just more of revenge, is kind of what he was aiming for. And that does, revenge can say kind of bad guy, but at the same time, if you're not fully in command and causing rips here and there and stuff like that, it just doesn't play out. Plus, also, like everyone has said, he wasn't in the movie enough. Now, his design was kind of interesting. I thought that was interesting, the route they went with his look and everything, especially, after what we've seen in the comics and other things that we've seen, kind of versions of what the leader looks like. That was interesting to decide to go with that. Now, I'm a huge Tim Blake Nelson fan. Absolutely love the guy. I think he's a great actor. I think that he was a great choice. And I thought he did a good job. I liked his voice. I liked his, kind of presence of playing the character. And I thought that if he had gotten more screen time, it would have been better for him. It would have given people more of a stronger villain, more of a stronger, character that we're going to come back to, to fight later on again, because he'll become more and more powerful, because that's just kind of what the leader is about. So definitely a missed opportunity there. That could have been so much more. Same thing with Sidewinder. Giancarlo Esposito is one of the greatest actors out there. The guy is awesome. From his portrayal in Breaking Bad to his portrayal in Maxine, his portrayal in Andor, and stuff like that. He is just always on point, always great. And he's got that presence where you want to watch him. And so the fact that they brought him in to play this character and then only shot a few scenes with him really kind of sucked. I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get more of him. And I would have appreciated to see more of him, but I think his scenes were fantastic. Like that action sequence when he's shooting at Sam was awesome. I thought that whole fight sequence was really done well, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought that he really kicked ass. And, I think that this section of the film kind of gives you, it goes along pretty fast, goes along pretty well. There's definitely some missed opportunities where they could have added a little more to make a little more sense and stuff like that. And, this is where they could have put in more footage of these different characters to give them more screen time. But overall, I think that, it's pretty decent. Get you into the film, get you further into, what Sam has to do to kind of move along to, getting to stopping the leader. The introduction to the leader, I thought was kind of interesting how they kind of have him do a lot of voiceover versus showing him. That was interesting, I thought. But at the same time, I don't think that helped the film at all. So pretty much a decent section, but could have had some things fixed that could have made it better. But overall, it got the point across, and it still was enjoyable.
Yeah, I agreed. Like when we first introduced the leader, I kind of it felt like a horror film. Before we get the reveal of his head, it felt like a horror film, and I thought that made the character, the leader, scary. I feel like when we revealed the the look of the leader, I felt like we kind of lose a little bit of that scary kind of horror thing. I think what they should have done was to do more like James Bond, the Spectre leader, Blofeld. We don't see his face until the next film. I think they should have done was to wait for the next whatever Captain America film or MCU film to reveal the leader, like that he's a much bigger villain in the future. I just felt like he was a villain here, and like, okay, we're sort of done with him. Like, I don't know what else you could do with him. And I feel like they should have done something like a very James Bond type for the leader, with like, instead of just really who he is, he's like the mastermind for something much bigger in the MCU, maybe. And and I agree with you, Cyber. I love Giancarlo Esposito. He's a great actor. Have you seen his work from the Star Wars show? Better Call Saul, the Breaking Back universe. He's fantastic, and I like what he done in this film.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, the Mandalorian, right? Like, he was in there, and I I agree with you, Jeff. Like, he was the best thing about this movie, and like, his scenes were great, but like, why rate him for just like a few scenes? That doesn't make sense. Again, as I say before, just use the Serpent Society and use Sidewinder as villains instead of the leader. But yeah, so it's kind of sucked. But at least one thing I'm happy that they didn't kill off the villains. So at least we're going to see them maybe in the future, hopefully. You know, I hope we do see Giancarlo Esposito and Tim Blake Nelson in the future, because I'm happy they're not dead. Like, thank goodness, because that was a problem in phase 1 and 2, 3. That like, they constantly kill villains, and it's like, come on, save some of the villains for the future, you know? So that's, that's all to say. But yeah, and I didn't mind the design. I thought it was okay. It felt horror like, but it just didn't feel right for the type of film this movie is. It's like, it's trying to be the Winter Soldier, like a grounded, like, thriller film. So so getting back to like the whole leader thing, like we see again the what's the character name? Bat Seraph, the Black Widow chick, investigating the Camp Echo because Ross feels that the leader has kind of taken over that facility. So she's there in that like facility. She helps Wilson and Torres, and like, at first they were captured again by the army, but then they got brainwashed by the leader's music thing. So she leaves with them. They meet up with Wilson's military friend, Dennis Deffy. By the way, this guy, this army friend for Wilson, he's actually a character from the comics called Demolition Man, or AKA D-Man. That was kind of cool. They did that. And then who has we see, this is the last time we see Sidewinder. So we see again Sidewinder in custody. So Wilson learns enough from Sidewinder to seduce the plan that the leader is having. He's trying to destroy the Ross reputation. As Cyber said before, revenge could be it's a good motivation for your villain, but it should be more like enough to like push your film to be more original. But it's like, we've been already doing revenge plots in other projects, TV and all that we watch, and it's nothing like original, right? So yeah, so the leader's plan is trying to destroy Ross' reputation for like taking away his life for like all the 17 years captivity. So Wilson, Torres, and the Black Widow chick Bat Seraph go to the Celestial Island where Ross and the Prime Minister of Japan are racing to claim ownership of the adamantium. And while Stern, the leader controls the minds of 2 American pilots who attack the Japanese fleet. Great sequence. I like the battle air thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Like, you're seeing what the Falcon is actually useful for. This was kind of neat. Great action scene. So we get Wilson and Torres intercepting the planes, convincing the Japanese to stand down, which didn't work out. So okay. Torres gets critically injured in the scene and the flight. So unfortunately, he gets hurt, but he survived. Then at the same time, we get the reveal of why so this was a big deal, and I thought this was a good scene from Harrison Ford as Thunderbird was. I agree with Cyber. He's really hurt, but he's a good actor. I thought the scene he did really good. He explained to Captain America the reason that he kept the leader alive and like passed the the election is because he was dying of heart failure, which we got a little nod to in Captain Civil War because he had like a heart problem during that time, and so he discovered that he was dying, and the leader actually figured out a way to prolong his life by creating these pills. So Ross refused to release the leader for fear that he could no longer make the pills that keeps him alive due to his heart condition, which that led to the leader's anger and plans of revenge. So that's why that's happening. So let me stop there. Start with you, Cyber. What you thought about the whole air battle thing with the Celestial Island? Did you like the reveal of Ross saying that the reason he kept the leader was because of his heart failure? Go ahead.
So the whole deal with the pills, I think is kind of funny. Simply for the fact that, we already knew back in Civil War that he had a heart attack and that he had to have bypass surgery and all that kind of stuff. And basically them saying that he needed these pills because of his heart failure. But at the same time, the leader created these pills to help with that, but also at the same time turn him into a Red Hulk. I thought was kind of lame. I'm sorry. I thought that was kind of stupid because that's not how Thunderbolt Ross became the Red Hulk in the comics at all. That was completely different. So then, like, leeching onto that, I thought was kind of stupid at the same time. But still, the whole concept of him, becoming the Red Hulk because of these pills, it's okay. Now, pretty much this section of the film, it's a lot of, like, storytelling and kind of bringing you, into kind of what Thunderbolt Ross is about, like, why he's so keen on these things. And we get more information on the leader. We have, of course, the sequence when the guys go to his lab, and that's really a fantastic sequence with the little Black Widow chick, which I recall Jeff mentioning she's pretty hot and that she should have more screen time. And I was kind of like thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I mean, she kind of looked like one of those, I don't know, kind of like an elf, kind of like a, elf, not like a sexy dwarf or like a sexy midget. No, an elf. She looks like a freaking elf, like Dobby elf. So that to me does not look like sexy. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Dobby here is helping them out fighting and shit. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of, kind of hilarious at the same time, kind of, cool. How the hell was this woman a Black Widow? I have no idea. But at the same time, okay, cool. I'm glad she was a Black Widow because she definitely showed some of that Black Widowness in that action sequence there at the leader's secret lair. And at that time, we're kind of getting a little bit more information of kind of like what the leader, kind of his plans to kind of what he's leading to. Now, he really hasn't officially stated exactly what he wanted to do, like what his main goal is. But at the same time, we see that it's pushing in the direction of something to do with Thunderbolt Ross. And, at the same time, this like section, we have that great action sequence, but we have a lot of like little scenes that kind of give you a little bit of information here and there. And, they basically have made their way over to eventually to the Indian Ocean where the celestial body is. And I think it's fun that they call it the Celestial Island. I think that's absolutely hilarious. The fact that they are calling this Celestial Island, simply the fact that it's sticking out of the middle of the ocean, just a giant hand and a head, is an island. Okay. But at the same time, they could have came up with some other name for it. It could have been cooler or something. But Celestial Isle works, most definitely. But the graphics and the look of Tomb and Tut looks awesome. I think that they did a really good visual job there. And that's one thing I did notice about this film. I thought they did a pretty decent job of locations. Like, they looked really, spruce. They looked really nice. They looked really good, and I think that the cinematographer did a really good job. For what he was given with the footage and stuff like that he had to film through because of all the rewrites and all the different things that they had to change and stuff like that. So I thought he did a pretty decent job getting some decent shots throughout this film that were cohesive looking. But overall, I think this section. I'm sorry, we're going all the way to where, Andreas?
Up to where like Torres gets like critically injured in the fight, and then
Talk about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, we're getting kind of this like UN thing going on here with Japan and India and stuff like that. Them being a part of a treaty and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of interesting. This movie was definitely very political. So I thought that was kind of interesting that during an election, a year that right after the new president is put into place, they have this very kind of political type of film, which I'm not saying anything, but seems that it was pointed in that direction for a certain reason. But anyways, so we have this like UN thing going on, and then of course, then all of a sudden, our planes start to shoot at these guys that we're trying to make a peace treaty with. And so we find out that the leader is causing this, of course. He did the blue song and the mind control thing. And so we have this big battle sequence go out, and this is where Torres, the new Falcon, gets fucked up. And I remember just thinking like, wow, they're taking him out already? I'm like, damn, like, bro, we just saw him for a little bit in Falcon Winter Soldier, and then you're fucking gonna take him out right away. I'm like, how is that to really shine a new Falcon? You know what I mean? Because definitely this movie, if you look at it from the right perspective, it definitely was a movie about Sam Wilson. This movie should have been called Sam Wilson, not Captain America 4. Should have been called Sam Wilson, because this really is about Sam and all about Sam. And so I think that, the fact that it really centralized in him, they really missed the opportunity to really shine these other characters, like the leader, like Sidewinder, like Falcon, the new Falcon, Torres. It really was, kind of really focused on Sam, but at the same time, really about Thunderbolt Ross too, as well, because this whole Hulk thing. But I think that the aerial views there and the fighting in that sequence was really done well. I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. Could have been better, most definitely. But I thought for what it was very entertaining, very well done, and a decent action sequence. So very solid section of the film, still very entertaining. Had some great highlights, definitely some downs that could have been played out better. But overall, I think it was very entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, this part was a very enjoyable part. I really liked it. Yeah, not much to say. Yeah, it was very funny when the leader was trying to push Ross to become the Red Hulk. Like he spilled the pills in the floor, and it's like, oh boy. It was really cool to see like his transformation slowly, which was kind of nice. Jeff, any thoughts on the whole Celestial Island attack?
Yeah, I didn't like the way that they shot the Celestial Island. I thought it could have looked better. I was kind of I was 50-50 on the whole aerial action scene, with the planes and all that. Like it was just okay, seeing Harrison Ford starting to like Red Hulk out, for the first time and all that, it was solid. Like that was pretty much the end of the leader right there at that point. You know what I mean? Like that was the end. So he's out of the movie at that point, basically, right? Or right after that, the movie's entertaining throughout for the most part. It just has its little flaws, here and there, like the unfortunate not usage of some of the characters. But I think that you kind of had to have watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier to really know what was going on too, kind of in the movie in a way. And that kind of made it tough for the film.
Yeah. I mean, well, not that, but like just reminding people like what was this like this big thing in the ocean came from. You know, it's from the Eternals, and like you're trying to remind people about like the, you know, Thunderbolt Ross and Lear, you know, like all that from the Incredible Hulk. Like it's not only the TV show, the Functional Soldier Jeff. It's like everything. It's like it's crazy. But yeah, I agree. Like if you haven't seen the TV show or any of like the previous MCU projects from Phase 4, 5, or even from Phase 1, you're completely lost for this project. Like literally. Um, yeah, and speaking of reshoots, again, you know, it wasn't bad for this film, but this scene, the aerial fights, you could tell there were the reshoots happened here because
Yeah.
the was it the chick, the dwarf chick that you're saying, Cyber, the Black Widow one, uh because she was supposed to be more of the scenes there, but then you see this like her scenes were way more in this scene, and you could tell that they cut that out. And like if you're gonna use her, like just make her a new character and just use her mutant powers. Like it's kind of weird that they kept her in this project if you're not gonna move forward the mutant stuff. Like we haven't had any mutants besides Miss Marvel, so it's kind of weird that they didn't give her superpowers and say like she's a mutant. You know, that again, just weird. So we're now in the third and final act of this film. So we get the huge Red Hulk, the Red Hulk stuff here. So after you know Taurus gets like injured of the fight, you know Wilson is getting consoled by his friend Bucky Barnes. We get the cameo here in the film. Great conversation, very funny. I really like this. As the guys say before, it's not a big surprise if you heard that he was coming here or not. I mean, we had to set up the Thunderbolts here. It's important to note that this scene does confirm that Bucky is running for Congress for New York, and that's what's going on in the Thunderbolts. So that's confirmed. So he's running for Congress. That's why he's in the scenes where Val is in those like courtroom scenes. As you've seen recently, the Thunderbolt trailer from the Super Bowl, that's why he's there, because he's running for Congress. So we got that confirmation. Then we see again the leader killing the military friend that was trying to discover that the pills are actually being infected by gamma radiation, and that's affecting Roth's body. And so the leader is affecting Roth's body with a lot of like slowly, you know, building up the doses of the gamma radiation into Roth's body. And speaking of just a trivia here, apparently the person that was supposed to check the pills was initially supposed to be Amadeus Cho, the other Hulk, the character that we see in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That was supposed to be a cameo here in this film, but they didn't went through did that plan, so we don't see Cho in this film to build up that character for either Avengers or something like that, whatever. Um, and so after that, the leader beats up Wilson. He surrendered himself to Wilson, and like he gets arrested. Simultaneously, the arrest and the connection to Ross are publicly revealed while the latter is at a press conference. And this, like, without the faults of this film, I gotta say the Red Hulk thing was the best thing in this film. When he started to lose control and he like starts to like become the Red Hulk, it was like a big deal. Like I was like, wow. And his emotions transfer into the Red Hulk. And as Cyber said for it, it's very like it's weird. It's similar, but it's different from the comic books. Like the leader did correct the Red Hulk. It was like the whole party. What's that group? The antenna the antenna
the Agencia or whatever.
Yeah, the Agencia with the leader was the ones that created the Red Hulk in the comic books. If everyone wants to know, that's that group that created the Red Hulk in the comic books. But here it's just the leader created the Hulk here, the Red Hulk. So Red Hulk
first the Intelligentsia.
Yes, that's correct. That like cancel culture group from She-Hulk Attorney Law. So Lear creates Red Hulk, Red Hulk the source part of the White House. It was really cool, and you see like the Secret Service shooting here. You know, Captain America, Sam Wilson is like attacking him. It was really cool action scene, and you see like the full force of the Red Hulk here. Like you see like his hands burning up the carpet because like he is literally a nuclear radiation. He's very different from our traditional Hulks here. He, thankfully, Sam Wilson has the was it vibranium from Wakanda, but even that doesn't help enough because the impact from the Red Hulk hands does like disable the kinetic energy, which was shocking. And you say like, oh shit, and we get this great action scene where like two planes using bazooka guns at him, like half the White House is destroyed, and then they land into the cherry blossom. By the way, the cherry blossom became is a major motif in the film because it's the thing that he did with his estranged daughter Betty Walsh to walk when she was a kid. By the way, we did miss the part before he did turn into the Red Hulk. He had to call Betty Ross and they talk, and he hoped after this they can walk together again in the cherry blossom, which unfortunately, sadly, doesn't happen. So we get into the cherry blossom at Washington D.C. is a great action scene, which we already seen the trailers. That's the thing. If you didn't see a lot of this in the trailers, you're kind of like in the know with this scene, but it's actually still great. I thought this was great action scene. So despite the attempts to stop the Red Hulk, like nothing is coming through. So Wilson does the best thing as a variant counselor. He tends to calm down by reminding him the visit he does with his daughter with the cherry blossom, which that calms down a little bit. So the two fight until they get exhausted, and until Ross did revert to normal after calming down and learning. Betty is the reason that he wants to change, and that's what happened. And later, after that, whole Red Hulk scene happens. Later, Bradley is exonerated from the crime. Wilson invites a recurring Torres to join the Avengers, and the treaty is ratified. So the treaty went through and is named after Ross and the Japan Prime Minister. So like that's gonna happen. And Ross resigns himself incarcerated at the raft, and where Wilson talks to him and like learns about the events after that, and then Betty visits him in the prison. So that's the end of the film. We get like the classic, MCU credits there with the names and all that. Then we get the only post-credit scene in this film. It's a very weak post-credit scene where Wilson is talking to the leader, and then the leader is telling that, oh, you're not the only world that is coming, and like they're gonna come attack from other worlds. So they're like setting up the multiverse thing with the Doomsday / Secret Wars Ventures films, and it's like, okay, like I know that, and like we already know that Sam Wilson's gonna rebuild the Avengers. Very weak post credit scene. I didn't like it. So that's the end of the whole film. That's a wrap. So Jeff, what you thought about the whole finale there? Do you like the post credit scene? Go ahead.
The Red Hulk fight was good. It was enjoyable. It was interesting how it ended. Sam talking him down like that and all that, but it was a good action scene. It was really well done. Sam held it down for the whole movie. Sam Wilson, Captain America, was good for the whole film. I don't know about Torres being an Avenger already. Like that seems a little bit quick. But I'm glad he's going to go out and assemble the Avengers. He needs to. It's about time to go, put the Avengers team together. I'm looking forward to seeing him doing it. And, Harrison Ford ended up in the vault, and saw Betty and everything. And there you go, okay movie, watchable movie, entertaining film. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoyed seeing it. It just has some flaws.
Yeah, just flaws. It's not a big deal. It's okay film. Cyber, go ahead. Your thoughts on the Red Hulk stuff? Do you love it? What are your thoughts on the post-credit scene? All that. Go ahead.
So, Red Hulk finally coming out and doing some damage was fucking awesome. Absolutely loved it. Loved the look of the Red Hulk. I thought that they pretty much put all their budget into making the Red Hulk for this film, in this fight sequence. And I actually had somebody comment, was saying that they thought that it was Captain America's shield that went through the White House that caused that giant smash. I was like, and what fucking world and dimension are you thinking this in? Because that was way too much damage for just the small little disc. So when he smashes through it, I thought that was freaking awesome. Him and Sam fight really well, I thought. I mean, just like Jeff said, Sam held it down the whole entire film. He was action-packed. He was really good. And, Anthony Mackie is a great action star. I've seen him in other films where he played action stars, and he's really good at it. He can kick some ass. And I think that he does a good job, giving us this new version of Captain America. And, it's very much Sam Wilson, really, but with the honor of being Captain America, really. And so I think that the whole Red Hulk thing was awesome, really fantastic, really well done. I definitely thought that Liv Tyler was going to pop up during that sequence, but didn't. I was kind of like, what the fuck? I'm like, where's Liv Tyler? They said she was in this. And so when she pops up in the post-credit scene, I was kind of like, or towards the end scene, I was like, oh, this is where they decided to put her in. Okay. And supposedly she came out of retirement to do this scene, which I thought was really interesting too as well. But overall, I think that, that whole sequence was probably my favorite part of the whole film. That just was action-packed and fun. And seeing him finally turn into the Red Hulk was just so badass. Because I've been waiting to see the Red Hulk for years. I mean, since the Incredible Hulk from 2008, I've been wanting to see the Red Hulk because just such a badass type of character. And what's funny is there's 9 other colored Hulks in the Marvel universe that could possibly pop up in future films. So I think that, we could hopefully we'll get to see some of these other types of Hulks. But yeah, definitely I think that, this Hulk, really, you can see that his anger really kicks some ass and really makes some more damage than the regular Hulk does, kind of. And I think that's, a great little contrast of showing the differences. But Liv Tyler probably showed up in that scene. I was really happy. I loved seeing her play Betsy Ross again. And I thought that was great. I thought she looked great. I think she's a fun actress. I think she's always very endearing. And I thought she, it was great to see her again. Now, when it comes to the post-credit scene, it basically is supposed to be kind of setting up Doomsday, or the next Avengers film, kind of. Hence why he says, you'll be seeing other people that you might already know, but different type of deal. So that definitely was supposed to be setting up, Doomsday coming up for the next Avengers film. But it didn't do a solid job of really giving us that, thing. But it was nice to see a post-credit scene again. That was great. I was glad to finally see one of those great. And then, of course, having the end credit saying Captain America will return was really great too. I love seeing that again because that's something that was kind of missing from the last kind of 4 years, in which I love that stuff. I always loved seeing that. I thought it was always fun to see that stuff. So it was overall a very entertaining, fun film that was super enjoyable and definitely a decent film. And, was a lot better, like I said, than what I thought it was going to be. So hands down to the Russos. Give a shout out to the Russos for coming in and trying to salvage what they could to make this a better film. And I can't wait to see what they do with the next 2 Avenger films, because what they did with Infinity War and Endgame, I'm hoping it becomes that caliber again, because they just did such a great job. So, really looking forward to that. Overall, decent ending and a decent film.
Yeah, most definitely. Good, well said, Cyber.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get into ratings and we'll wrap up this. Let me go first. Let me just say I mean really me and Jeff did the rating yesterday on my channel. I give it a 6 out of 10. I'm gonna stick with that. I think it's a decent MCU film, mid-tier film. What this film does over the other bad Phase 4 or 5 films, it moved us to the next theme that's important, like the Avengers films. That's good, and like they pay off, the stuff that was dangling in the previous phases, like the Eternals and Falcon and the Soldier and Three Incredible Hulk. So I appreciate this film, like connecting all the dots in the MCU, because that was something that was a problem with the other MCU projects that we have. Nothing connect with the other stuff. It was like all like just self-contained, and it was fine, but then it didn't feel like an MCU film project. I appreciate about this film, about that. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Jeff, your rating, sir, go ahead.
7.5.
Cyber, your rating.
Okay. I'll give it an 8.
Okay. All right, that's our rating. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review of Captain America 4: Brave New World. I enjoyed it. It was fun to talk about it. I'm gonna give it to Jeff. Jeff, plug us out. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream review of Captain America: Brave New World, and of course the recap of episode 78 of Friday Neighborhood Spider-Man. Go ahead, sir.
And do not forget, we are a podcast. So those of you who enjoy us in podcast form, please follow us on whatever podcast distribution platform that you use. Cyberneticshark, sir, I've got your channel pulled up. If you want to do your plugs.
All right, folks, if you join me here on the panel or as a moderator, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark. You'll find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, Patreon, pretty much most places you'll find me. As you can see there, my most recent trailer reaction is for the upcoming Opus film, which is a upcoming John Malkovich film, which looks really interesting, coming from A24. If you haven't seen Nosferatu, definitely check out my movie review of the 2024 amazing film. If you haven't seen that, check that out. My most recent little shorts, I put up a couple today. One for The Monkey, which I saw on Friday, which was really fantastic. One of the best horror films of 2025 so far. Really fun film. I also put up a mini review of a 2023 French horror film called The Vortilac, which is basically about a kind of like a vampire type of deal, but they used a marionette to play the Vortilac, which was really highly hilarious. If you haven't seen it, check it out on Shudder. But check out that mini review if you like to see what it's all about. But The Monkey was absolutely Oz Perkins' best film. Oh my God, hands down, he knocked it out of the park. Be having more stuff up for you guys soon. Of course, eventually my Captain America Brave New World review and all that kind of stuff. So keep your eyes out for that stuff. Also, people, if you enjoy that stuff, go check out my Patreon, where you can get all kinds of extra accoutrement you don't get here on the YouTube channel, such as outtakes, bloopers, all that kind of cool stuff. So definitely check that out, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching us here on the MC's Bleeding Edge. Please keep on watching us there and subscribing, all that good stuff. Keep watching Mr. Andres, the pop culture guy, and we appreciate you guys.
Speaking of, Andres, the pop culture guy.
Yes, speaking of. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed my moderation for tonight. It was really fun. So recently, did I release this one in public? Yeah. So I want to thank Jeff for joining me yesterday for the live stream review of Boogie Nights. That was really fun. We did a brief media review of Captain America 4 over there. So that was really fun.
Hot D.
Yes, it was really hot D yesterday. So you missed the fun parts there, Mr. Cyberneticshark. Anyway, so I just recently posted a separate movie of Captain America 4 from me and Jeff. So it should be there, just right there. So please check it out. If you didn't want to see the live stream review, it's right there. I'm gonna put more trailer reaction that we did, or just me by myself. I need to get around doing the Jurassic World Rebirth reaction. I'm gonna do Boogie Nights retrospective / review. I'm gonna do more shorts and all that, so that's where I'm at right now with my content. So please support me, hit that subscribe button, and please support me and Cyber. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
And we will be back on Friday for Nick of Time.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man next Monday. So there you go, folks. God bless everybody. It is Monday, so have a great rest of your week. From everybody here, Andre's Pop Culture Guy, Cyberneticshark, myself, Jeff S. True Knowledge. We see everybody later. Peace.
Hey. I said, excuse me, but you don't understand.